You ready? Yes. You ready, yes?
Yes.
Turn the person next to you and tell them what the quantum field is. Would you agree then that the quantum field is an invisible field of information that exists beyond this space and time? Yes or no? Yes. So there's no matter there. There's no particles, there's no people, there's no things, there's objects, there's no places, there isn't even any time. It's an infinite field of eternal blackness, void of anything material. But that's where all possibilities exist. Are you with me still? Yes. So then we could say that it's a field of information of frequency, because all frequency carries information. And just because you can't see something doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. Yes, yes or no? Yes. So then, the moment you take your attention off your body, you become nobody. Yes or no? Yes. The moment you take your attention off of people in your life and your identity, you become no one. Yes? Yes. The moment you're no longer thinking about things and objects, you become nothing, yes? Yes? And if you're not thinking about any place to go, or anywhere you have to be, then all of a sudden you are in nowhere, yes or no? Yes. And if you're not thinking about time, then you're in no time, yes or no? Yes. And that's the moment you take your attention off the outer world and you begin to put it on the inner world. And you can't enter the quantum field right now as a somebody. You got to enter as a nobody. You can't take your body there. You can't take your problems. You can't take your past. You got to leave them at the door, and you got to enter naked as pure consciousness, as an awareness. And that's how you slip through the eye of the needle. How many people are with me? So then if the quantum field is a field of information that exists beyond this space and time, then there are frequencies that exist beyond matter. Would you agree? Science already knows that. You can't see X-rays or radio waves or your Wi-Fi signal, but they exist. Yes or no? Yes. So then, in this invisible field of information and frequency, it is the intelligence of the smallest subatomic particle to the most advanced being that ever lived. In this universe, in all other universes, in this dimension, all other dimensions, past, present, and future. It's the mind of God. So there's a lot of data in there. Would you agree? Yes. So then, is there a potential for you to be healthy that exists there? Yes. Is there a potential for you to be wealthy? Yes. Is there a potential for you to be in love with life? Yes. So then, in order for you to heal your body, you got to forget about your body. You got to get beyond your body. In order for you to create some new thing in your life, you got to get beyond all the familiar things in your life. Yes or no? Yes. And if you wanted to create a new reality, you would have to forget about the reality that's past, present, that's existing right now. Yes or no? Yes. And if you are going to create something happening in no time, you have to get to no time. Would you agree? And the moment you begin to unfold into that infinite vast space, and you're no longer thinking about any of those things or feeling any of those feelings or demonstrating any of those behaviors, no longer firing the same circuits in your brain that were repetitious, all of a sudden the brain starts connecting to information from the unified field, and it starts becoming more orderly, more consistent, more coherent, more whole. Are you with me still? The autonomic nervous system steps in, raises the energy of the body. And now the body begins to build a field of information. So then when you get to that point where you are no body, no one, no thing, no where, and no time, you're pure consciousness, and your consciousness can merge with a greater consciousness. So then the more whole you feel, the less separation you feel. And the less separation you feel, the more connected you feel to everybody and everyone and everything and everywhere and every time. Isn't that the quantum field? And if there's less separation, there's less space between you and I, less space between you and your future, which means it should happen in a shorter amount of time. How many people are with me? Turn the person next to you and get that brain working, please. So, if you feel less separation, less duality, less polarity, then you stop creating from lack. Yes or no? Yes. So then, the more whole you feel, the more connected you feel to everyone and everything and everywhere, in every place, in every time. And you experience less separation, which means you should be able to draw a future to you then. Would you agree? And if you are creating from a realm beyond matter, and you've left this place behind, and you're in that field of information, then you should be able to change your energy. And if you change your energy, and it matches some potential, some energetic field that already exists in the quantum world, then all of a sudden, when you're tuning into that potential, you'll no longer have to drag your body through space and experience it. You are going to collapse time, and space is going to move towards you. The event is going to find you. How many people understand that? Turn the person next to you and try that one on. Are you with me? So then, here you are in your life, and you're sitting down, and you want to find the sweet spot of the generous present moment. And you finish the event, and you sit down, and all of a sudden, as you start sitting down, you start noticing that your body's on a program, and it wants to get up and do things and see people and answer texts and do emails and get busy with that same personal reality that's really creating that personality. And it wants to continue to create the same experiences, to produce the same emotions, to reaffirm that identity. And those emotions then are pretty much chemical feedback from your past. And now here you are, you're sitting there, and because you're not getting up and doing anything, your body's getting a little frustrated. It's getting a little impatient. It's getting a little miffed, a little angry, a little judgmental, a little cynical, a little resentful, a little jealous, a little envious. You know how that goes. And all of a sudden, you realize it's just looking for its fix. And you say, okay, now I understand that you're trying to go to the past. And you keep returning it back to the present moment. No longer firing, no longer wiring, no longer signaling the same genes in the same way, and no longer investing your energy in the past. And then all of a sudden, you start thinking about that meeting, that appointment, that person at that certain time, and you become aware that you're investing your attention into the known, your energy into that future. And you know your body's going to follow your mind there, and everything's going to stay status quo. And all of a sudden, you decide to no longer fire, no longer wire, no longer emotionally condition the body into that future and signal the same genes in the same way. And you disinvest your energy out of that future. And all of a sudden, biologically, neurologically, chemically, hormonally, genetically, energetically, you are no longer living in that future. Are you with me still? And now the body, you know, the greatest part of every war is the last battle. All of a sudden, the body, like my stallion, all of a sudden decides to buck and kick because I'm not allowing him to do what he wants to do. And I keep settling him down into the present moment, and you keep settling your body back into the present moment, and it's getting more agitated, more vigilant, more frustrated. And you say to your body, that's all you got? That's it? That's your best? That's it? That's all you're going to give me? And you keep reconditioning it to a new mind and keep settling it back into the present moment over and over again, disinvesting your energy out of that past, drawing that energy back into your field, no longer firing and wiring, no longer signaling the same gene in the same way. And all of a sudden, biologically, neurologically, chemically, hormonally, genetically, that past no longer exists in your body. Are you with me still? And all of a sudden, the body gives one more shot. Well, you're a busy person. You got things to do. You got to let the cat out. I hear it screaming out there, and I smell that coffee. And, all of a sudden, all that's going on, and you just say, hey, I'm going to let you know when we're ready to get up. And then after you're conditioned to a new mind, you're going to be so happy that you're happy. And then I'm going to feed you, and then I'm going to give you coffee, and you're going to get all the things you normally want, but this is my time. Are you with me still? Yes. And you keep doing that, sooner or later, biologically, neurologically, chemically, hormonally, and genetically, even the energy out of that known line of time no longer exists. And now you are in the generous present moment. And all of that energy's coming back to you, and you're building a bigger electromagnetic field. And that energy starts to connect to the unified field. Your heart starts getting really coherent. And all of a sudden, you start feeling love for no reason. You're in love with yourself. You're in love with the moment. And that heart is sending signals to the brain, and the brain is sending signals to the heart, and the brain is getting very coherent. And if you can combine a clear intention with an elevated emotion, an elevated energy, you will create a bigger electromagnetic field, and you'll feel connected to something. And all that energy is carrying information, and your thought that you lay on that energetic field begins to broadcast a whole new electromagnetic signature. Are you with me still? And you are connected to something greater, and you have merged with your autonomic nervous system, and all of a sudden, it's causing your brain and body to move into order and wholeness. And you start feeling more unified, connected to the unified field. And there's a potential for genius that exists electromagnetically in the quantum field. There's a potential for abundance that exists in the quantum field. There's a potential for a new relationship that exists in the quantum field. There's a potential for a mystical experience that exists in the quantum field. There's a potential for a new opportunity to exist in the quantum field. There's a potential for a new job to exist in the quantum field. All potentials that exist in the quantum field exist as electromagnetic energy. And when you tune your energy into a new potential, and there's a vibrational match between your energy and that potential, and you are creating from a realm beyond space and time, where you are more energy and awareness than matter and program. And Einstein said the field is the sole governing agency of the particle. He didn't say the particle was the sole governing agency of the particle. He said the field was. And when you create from that invisible place, and you are more energy than matter, you no longer go anywhere to get what you want. You are the vortex that is drawing the event to you. And get ready, because it's going to come in a way that you never expected. That is the unknown. And it's not going to create the emotions of frustration and jealousy and competition and unworthiness. It's going to create awe and wonder and surprise and joy. And now we're moving from victims to creators. Are you with me still? Yes. Now, you can't do it as your pain. You can't do it as your name. You can't do it as your culture, as your job. You got to leave all of that behind. And when you are in awareness, changing your energy in this infinite field, it's like tuning into a radio station. You are getting a clear signal, and your brain starts processing a whole new stream of consciousness. When you marry that clear intention with an elevated emotion and broadcast a whole new electromagnetic signature, and you're able to maintain that energy and not give it to anyone or anything outside of you, the unusual, the uncommon is going to start showing up in your life, because you're in a vibrational match with your future instead of your past. And your future, by the way, should be an unknown. How many people understand? Turn the person next to you and explain that, please. If you continue in this work, we work extensively in creating from fifth-dimensional reality instead of three-dimensional reality, and we have graphics and animations and pictures to show how all that happens. But you have to understand then that it requires you to become pure consciousness, an awareness in that infinite invisible field before you can begin to affect matter. Because when you are matter trying to affect matter, you'll see an electron go from a wave of possibility to collapse into a particle. Wow, a few atoms. But when you're creating from a level of energy, and you're more energy than matter, then you should be able to exert greater effects in your life, and your observation or your mind begins to become matter. Are you with me still? And our advanced students are creating objects out of nothing. Not once, not twice, not 3 times. It's happening. And once you understand the physics behind it and you know how to do it, if you keep practicing, you should get better at it. Wouldn't you agree? Yes. And of course, I push them outside of their belief at that moment, but it only takes a few people to do it before you start scratching your head. Would you agree? Yes. So then, you don't have to go anywhere to get it when you are creating from a place where there's more time than space. That is the quantum, the eternal now. And all spaces, all dimensions exist in the present moment. And all it takes is for you to change your energy to match that potential. And the longer your consciousness lingers in that energy, the more you are calling a future to you. Are you with me still? So my 28-year-old son, last year and a half ago, he's the oldest of my 3 kids, and all of my kids have grown up with these concepts. And I started off very methodically with them in helping them to understand that the way they think and the way they feel has an effect on their lives. And so he was the one that I could never get to travel. He went to college for engineering, and great mathematician guy, and he scored really high in math on his SATs in high school. And I said to him, "Hey, Jace, what's the deal with math?" And he said, "It's the only thing in my life that makes sense." I said, "Okay, you stick with that." So he got accepted to all these different colleges, and I wanted him to go to this one college, university, that had a really great engineering program. But of course, he got accepted to University of California, Santa Barbara, which is one of the most beautiful campuses you'll ever see, And so I said, "Okay, let's go." We went down there, we walked the campus, and of course there's surfboards and skateboards and bikinis and, bicycles and, everything's going on. It's frisbees. And I'm in the center of the campus with him. He says, "Hey, Dad, come over here, I want to talk to you." Now I'm lobbying for the other universities, so, I'm holding all my aces and not showing anything. And he says, "Listen, I want you just for a moment to look around and just humor me and pretend like you're 18 years old. And then tell me what you would do." And I said, "Okay, here's the deal. Let's cut a deal right on the spot. You get a 3.5 grade point average in this school, I'll fund the whole project. The moment you drop below it, you're on your own. Do we have a deal?" Of course, he graduated, summa cum laude, and had a great time there, and had a lot of fun at the same time. And I found out that there's more Nobel Prize laureates that teach at the University of California, Santa Barbara, than any university or college in the United States, because everybody wants to retire in Santa Barbara. So anyway, he goes through 4 years of college, and he's just driven. My daughter, she goes to Europe, she does her whole thing. My other son, he's doing his thing. But this guy's driven. He's just driven. And so when he finishes college, I say, "Buddy, why don't you take a gap year and just travel a little bit, go to Buenos Aires, do something different, No, I got an offer for a great job. I'm going to take this job, and I'm just going to do it." So I said, "Okay, do the job." So he gets a great contracting job working for this company that's designing optics for the military, infrared cameras. And so he's designing the goggles for the Navy SEALs, and then he's doing an infrared camera for a battleship, and he's got all this top security, and I'm saying to him, "Jace, just tell me something." "I can't, Dad. Come on, have a martini with me and come talk." "No, I can't tell you anything." So then his contract ends, and he says, "I don't see a lot of room for growth at the pace that I want to grow in this company. So he left Santa Barbara and he moved to San Diego, and he worked for a startup as a managing engineer, and took this company to a certain point. And then he said to me, I can predict everything that's going to happen here, and I'm losing a little bit of respect for the management and the CEO, and I'm going to do something really out of the box. I have saved a lot of money, I'm just going to close everything down and put everything in storage, and I'm going to travel. And I went, thank God. He may find out that California is not the only culture in the world, if you call that a culture. So anyway, he packs up his surfboard, he's a big wave surfer, and he heads to Indonesia. And he goes to all the islands, Borobudur and Java, and he goes to all Sumatra, and he goes to all the different places. And some of the smaller islands, and he lands a job. Someone offers a job to be a surfing instructor, so he does that for a month on this beach, and then he packs up and he goes to Perth, and then after Perth he goes back to Bali, and then from Bali he heads over to Sydney, and then from Sydney he goes to New Zealand, and now he's in love with New Zealand. I mean, he just loves the country. But it's been now like over 5 months, and he's in New Zealand, and he calls me up and he says, hey, Dad, I'm going home really soon, in a month or two, and I got to start thinking about what I want to do when I get back there. And I said, okay, what do you want to work on? He says, well, I want to create a new job. And I said, okay, I want you to take out a pen right now and write the letter J down. And that J is going to represent a job for you. That's the symbol that you're going to associate with the job. Are you with me still? Yes. And then I say, now, let's get clear on the type of job you want, Jace, specifically. And he says, I want to make the same amount of money that I was making or more. I want to work for myself and have my own company, and I want to contracts for 6 months to a year. Are you with me still? I want to work from anywhere in the world. Now, this is what I love about him, and I gotta love what I do. I don't want to do anything if I don't believe in it. I don't want to do anything if I'm not inspired about it. I got to have a reason to wake up in the morning. And I said to him, so then when you think of this letter, it represents all of these things, because now you know what it means. He said, exactly. So I said, now you have a bunch of sub-intentions, sponsoring thoughts to understand your main intention, which is to have a job that represents all of these things. So now he's clear in his intention, yes or no? Yes. So then I say to him, okay, Jace, his name is Jace, J-A-C-E. I say, Jace, okay, I want you to write down some of the emotions you will feel when it happens. And he says, empowered, free, inspired, gratitude, right? And of course, he and I share this favorite, a love for life. So I say to him, so that's what you'll feel when it happens? He said, absolutely. So then I said to him, close your eyes. And I said to him, can you bring up those emotions on your own right now? He said, give me a minute. He started working himself up into those emotions. And then I said to him, can you, while you create that state, hold on to that symbol in your mind and broadcast the whole new electromagnetic signature into the field? And if you understand that the longer that your consciousness lingers in that energy, the more you're drawing your future to you, can you just linger there for a period of time? I said, because when there's a vibrational match between your energy and that future potential, you should have experiences equal to your energy. And I said, when you're in that state of being, Is it possible, Jace, for you to think about the things you're going to do, the experiences you're going to have, the choices you're going to make, and how they'll feel? He said, yeah, I can see myself managing my own team. I can see myself working in a place that I love. I can see myself having time off to do what I love to do. Great. So when you change your state of being, I want you to prime your brain and body by thinking about those choices, those behaviors, those experiences that await you, and how they'll feel. And I want you to prime your brain and body to look like that future has already happened every day. Live in that future in the present moment, and invest your energy into your future, but instead of into a known, invest it into an unknown. And just like your body follows your mind to the toilet every morning, to the known, your body is going to follow your mind to the unknown. Are you with me still? So he says, and he knows, and he says, okay. And I say, you got a lot of time on your hands. You're basically hanging out, drinking beer, and surfing. So you can't give me an excuse that there's not enough time. Will you commit to doing this? And he said, yeah. So 3 weeks goes by. He's in New Zealand, almost 4 weeks, and he's doing it every day. And then he was going to go back to Los Angeles, but he's hooked up with some friends of mine from Melbourne, and he went to Melbourne and spent almost a month in Melbourne in Australia. And then he flew back to the United States. And when he landed in Los Angeles, the moment he landed, he called me up. He texted me first, and he said, Dad, I'm back in the U.S. Call me. So I call him up, and we're talking, and how's your flight? Of course, that's a long flight. And I said, make sure you take care of yourself. Coming this way is a little bit more challenging. And he said, I've been thinking. I've run out of money. Now, the father in me wanted to say, hey, buddy, I'll help you out. I'll spot you, whatever. But I knew that he was on the fringe there. And I said, this is a great time for you to get serious and create. Let me know what happens. Chink. I throw him out into the unknown. So he rents a car, and he drives all the way down to San Diego. And he goes snowboarding every single year with all of his buddies from college, and they go to either, Utah or Colorado or the Sierras. And so they were going just to Mammoth, which is, a couple hours away from Santa Barbara. So he drove all the way up to Santa Barbara, met his buddies, all his college roommates. They went snowboarding for 4 days. And when he came back, he landed in Santa Barbara, where he went to school, and saw all his friends. And he was getting ready to leave, and he just went into this surf shop to look for this particular thing. And he bumps into the top designer of the toppest, best fins for surfboards. And they have this little conversation, and this guy is looking for an engineer that he wants the contract for 6 months to a year. He can make his own hours, work wherever he wants. He offers him right on the spot more money than he's currently getting. And he loves to surf. Are you with me still? Yeah. Now, he didn't have to go anywhere to get that. You understand? It came to him, and they're revolutionizing the industry right now. And he calls me up all the time or texts me, and he says, I cannot believe they pay me to do what I love to do so much. How many people understand? Yeah. Turn the person next to you and explain. How'd he do it? Explain it. How many people are understanding what I'm talking about? So, those of you who know me know that I love red wine. And I finished an event in Costa Rica a couple years ago, and it was my last event of the year. And it was a big year, and I was tired, and I was going to Costa Rica, and then I was going home, and then I was going back to Mexico with my family. So I only had a few days home, and it was this push for me. And it turned out to be one of the most amazing events, a beautiful part of Costa Rica, very private, and a great, great group of people, kind of a small, exclusive group, and we had an amazing time. And it was the first time that I had worked for this seminar coordinators, and they were so excited about the way the event worked out. We had dinner, and they said, hey, we'll take you anywhere in the world you want to go. Where do you want to go? Anywhere you want to go. And I said, I don't really want to go anywhere to see anything. I go for people. That's why I go. And so they said, oh, come on, there's got to be something on your bucket list. So I'm like, you know, I did all this research on red wine several years ago. I created an artificial stomach and put all of the digestive enzymes in there, trypsin, chymotrypsin, pepsin, pepsinogen, hydrochloric acid, put in the right concentrations, brought the system up to body temperature, purged it with argon gas, and then put in red wine and trapped the vapor to figure out what in the hell in red wine makes us so happy. So I did all these experiments, and I wrote a paper, never published it, and then got busy doing other things, and I said, God, I guess the only thing I would like to do is talk about my research in red wine. I'd love to get a group of people together, small group. I'd like to go to Tuscany. I'd like to start off drinking Sangiovese and Chiantis, and I'd like to go to some of the old villas and eat some of the great foods and pair it with all these different wines. I want to go to San Gimignano. I want to go to Lucca. I want to go to Forte di Marme. I want to go to Siena. And I want to finish in Montalcino. And I want to drink Brunello's till I can't remember my name. That was the exact thing I said to them. And I just was joking around and just kind of let it go. And so by the time I got back to the United States, they had already had a contract to Paula, and Paula was picking me up and saying, what do you want to do here? And they sent the contract, and I said, they're serious? Yeah, they're very serious. So I said, okay, let's go. So we went. It was the first wine tour we were together, and it was one of the most amazing, incredible experiences. It was just a fabulous group of people. Actually, every group has been fabulous. And we go deep into the process. And people say, well, I really don't like red wine, and it gives me a headache. And I'm like, we'll take care of you. What else? And we have the most amazing time. And we bond. And so many of those people are in this room, and some of them are very dear friends of mine, just because we had an amazing week together. And so I had finished that event, and I was flying back to Seattle, and I was passing through Amsterdam to get there, connecting in Amsterdam, and I just finally got a paper that was going to tell me what was going on in the United States. And I sat down on my plane seat, and I was opening my paper up like this, and as I was opening my paper, this woman was kind of walking by, and she goes, Dr. Joe! I'm like, hi, how's it going? She's great, I've been following your work, and, she starts talking to me, and she goes, what are you doing in Europe? I said, oh, I was leading a wine tour in Tuscany. And she said, do you know that my family owns one of the oldest vineyards in Abruzzi, in that region? And I said, really? And she said, yeah. And she takes out her iPad, and she starts showing me these beautiful, beautiful grounds and beautiful villas, award-winning wines. And the flight attendant comes over and says, hey, you're blocking everything, go sit down. And then she goes, sits down, and then we take off. She comes back up, and she said, look, are you going to have any time to come to my vineyard while you're in Italy? Because I know you're going to be there a few times. And I said, yeah, I could come to your villa and taste some wine. I have 4 days between these two events. And she whips out her card and she hands it to me. And I look at the card kind of briefly. I stick it in my pocket, and then she goes to sit down. And then I'm on the flight. It's 9.5 hours, and I'm laying down, I'm sitting up, and I'm reading, and I'm getting up. And I must have, when I pulled my cell phone out of my pocket, I must have pulled a card out of my pocket. Are you with me? So I get in the car with Paul, and I said, God, I might go, do I have time between these events to stop and go here? And, we're talking about it. And she goes, yeah, and I reach in my pocket for the card. It's not there. So I think, surely there must be a potential in the quantum field where that card can come back to me. Are you with me still? So I write the letter W down for wine with a little C for a card. But I know that W represents going to that vineyard in Abruzzi, yes? I know that I want to drink really good wine, yes? I know that if I do this properly, the card should find me. Are you with me still? And, of course, drinking really great wine and being in the right environment and being present in the moment creates some really great memories, yes? So that's what that represented to me. Now, what would be some of the emotions, don't you say it, that I would be feeling when that future occurs? Would I be joyful? Would I feel awe if it found me? Would I have a love for life? And of course, would I feel worthy to receive? Yes? So I think I'm not going to do this when I'm working in my meditation for my own personal change, but I'm on an airplane all the time. And here's the promise I made to myself. I am going to, from the time they say, well, shut your cell phones off and everything, instead of just doing nothing, I'm going to begin to raise my energy. And I'm going to bring up this letter, and I'm going to remember what that letter represents. And then, when I hold that intention in my mind, I am going to experience that emotion and teach my body what that future is going to feel like in the present moment, and tune in to that potential called having that wine experience because the card found me. Are you with me still? So I did it, I do a lot of connecting flights, so I do it when we take off all the time, over and over again, over again, over again, over and over again. I don't know how many times I did, but I just kept doing it because it was time to do it. And I wanted to see if it would work. So last year, we were doing an event in Lake Garda, Italy, in the northern part of Italy, north of Verona. And we were just there, as a matter of fact, in this beautiful place by the lake. And this event in Italy had 750 people, and it had sold out like 4 months before we got there. And so there were no rooms in the hotel, and for anybody else, they were oversold. And we would present a progressive workshop, and in the evenings, I'd take the staff out to dinner, and we'd go to one of the nice restaurants along the lake. And so we were coming back from dinner one evening, and as I was walking in the lobby, I walked through the door, and all of a sudden I hear somebody yelling, "Dr. Joe, Dr. Joe, Dr. Joe, Dr. Joe, Dr. Joe," and I look up, and here comes this lady to me. The same lady that was on the plane. And I say to her, "Oh my God, you're at my event." And she says, "No. My company was hired at the wine festival in Verona. And I live all the way down in Abruzzi, and they got this room for me. They booked it almost a year ago. I'm the only person in this hotel that's not doing your event." And she said, "The festival's only, 20 minutes from here, and they're featuring my wine." And I looked at Andrew, and I looked at Paula, and they're wondering what the hell's going on. And I say, "You got a card?" I said, "Give me 2 of them." How many people understand? Turn the person next to you and explain. Does the potential for a mystical experience exist in the quantum field for you? Does it exist as a possibility? Yes? Does the potential for a vacation exist in the quantum field? Yes? Does the potential exist for a healing in the quantum field? Yes? Does that exist as a possibility? Yes? So then you can't feel like a victim to do this. You can't suffer because that's a different vibrational match to your future. That's a vibrational match to your past. Are you with me still? So take out a piece of paper. And I want you to think about a potential you wanted to tune into or want to tune into in the quantum field that already exists. And write the letter down to represent that letter, that experience. Like J for job, V for vacation, R for relationship, L for love, F for freedom, M for mystical experience, L for lucid dream, I don't know. S for synchronicity. H for health, or H for healing, W for wholeness. Come on, pick something that would be fun. Pick a lucid dream or a mystical experience that's going to rock your world and change you forever, and you could never go back to being the same person ever again because now you know too much. How about that? So write down mystical experience and then list those things that represent a mystical experience to you. So if it's a mystical experience, you may want to know that you're not your body. Yes? Look at them writing in text. Isn't that amazing? They got me. You're not your body. That you're conscious. You want to know that you're consciousness and you're non-local. You want to know thoughts create reality. And you want to feel safe while you do it. Isn't that representing the letter M to you? Yes or no? And could you say then it is more real than the world you live in right now? That represents the letter M. But if you wanted a healing, then you may say, I want to feel less pain. I want to move easier. I want my blood values to go down. I want to feel like I can sleep through the night. Just list the conditions that represent that letter. Are you with me? So look at me. Hello. Hi. This is not a crucifixion. This is easy stuff, okay? You're going to write a capital letter down that represents that intent. Go like this. Then you're going to draw two squiggly lines around that letter that represents the electromagnetic field. Yes or no? Then you have to assign meaning to that symbol. So get very clear on what that symbol means so that when you look at it, you know what it means. And when you assign meaning to it, you can put more intention and attention behind it. Are you with me still? So get your sub-intents listed below it. Some people say, I want a new job, I want $40,000 more, I want to have benefits, I want to travel, I want stocks, I want to lead a team, I want to be the leader, I want my retirement. They just list what it is, and of course then it comes, and then they say, should I take it? That's like cooking an amazing meal and not eating it. You just created it, enjoy it. Now, bear in mind, if you want a mystical experience, it's not going to come on your terms. It's going to come on very unknown terms, and it may scare you. So you may want to write safe. So they come and get me. Oh my God, the guy thinks he's dying. He's traveling down the tunnel. I'm dying. No, you're having an unknown experience. And when I did this, I wanted to have an unknown experience, a mystical experience. I would wake up every morning at 4 a.m. and go sit out. I'd sit up past where my body wanted to lay down. I'd just sit up, and I'd keep working with my energy. And then, certain brain neurotransmitters are at their highest at 4 a.m. So when I laid down, a lot of times I would have a mystical experience. So I wanted to have something even greater. So I lay down after doing this for a couple of weeks, and all of a sudden I feel like in 1 second somebody just plugged me into a light socket, and I can feel every single cell of my body vibrating in frequency. And of course, the moment that happens, what do you think I do? I come back to awareness and I lose it, yes? And then I say, well, what was that? I sit up and I go, oh my God, what was that? That was a pretty cool feeling, and then I got afraid of it. When I got afraid of it, I contracted and I lost it. And next time that happens, I'm going to surrender into it. Are you with me still? So now I change my energy, raise and tune into that potential, marry the clear intention with emotions of awe and wonder and freedom and joy and a love for life, and the feeling of being unlimited. So then I do it again, but now as I'm in that state of being, I begin to think about what I'm going to do when that vibrational sensation comes on, and I'm going to relax. I'm just going to keep reviewing that I'm going to relax. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to relax and surrender. And all of a sudden, a few days later, I lay down. Here comes this vibrational sensation. The moment it comes, what do you think I do? I surrender right into it. I relax and let go, and whoosh, I come right out of my body. Like this. And I'm thrilled, and I'm experiencing that I'm not my body. But the problem is that I'm conditioned into believing that I am my body. So the moment I look at my body laying down there, I go, oh, that's me. And the moment I say that, what do you think I wind up? Then I sit up and I go, what the hell just happened? All right, let's review it. The vibrational sensation came on. You didn't contract, you relaxed into it. The moment you relaxed into it, you came out of your body. You were consciousness, dude. But then when you looked at your body, you thought you were your body, and because it's a thought world, the moment you thought that was you, you were back there because that's where your attention was and that's where your energy followed. Well, the next time that happens, I'm looking the other way. So like 2 weeks, 3 weeks goes by and nothing's happening for me. Of course, you know why? Because I'm trying now to recreate it the same way it happened the last time. And so I went out to chop wood one Saturday afternoon, and I must have chopped a cord of wood. I was just focused, and I was just letting energy go, and I was just chopping. And I was exhausted. It was a cold winter afternoon, and I came inside, and the fire was going, and there was a nice sheepskin, and I just laid on my back like this, and I looked up at the ceiling, and I thought, well, if my attention is on the ceiling, my energy's on the ceiling. And I was just relaxed enough between wakefulness and sleep that I slipped right out of my body, and all of a sudden, here comes that vibrational sensation, and I surrender into it, and I disconnect from my body or wake up in another body. And all of a sudden, I'm looking down at my body, and the moment I see it, I know better, and I come down, and I start moving towards the wall. You with me still? And my attention is on the wall, and as I'm moving towards the wall, I think, I'm getting kind of far away from my body. The moment I do that, what do you think I wind up? I sit up, and I'm frustrated, and I go, what just happened? All right. You surrendered. Consciousness is non-local. You felt the vibrational sensation. You came right out of your body. When you're up out of your body, you were moving away from your body, and then you thought you were moving too far away from your body. Hey, you're in a non-local realm. Consciousness is non-local. Wherever you think you are, you are. Your body's a thought away. There is no separation between objects and things here. Rethink this. So I start thinking about it over and over again, thinking about it. Well, next time that happens, I'm going right through the wall. Are you with me? So then here we go. I'm up at 4 a.m. I want my mystical experience more than my sleep. I want the unknown more than my comfort and the known. I want to be non-local more than I want to be local. That's just my passion at the time. And yeah, I was tired when I woke up. But I just dragged my body and sat it down. And a couple days later, here comes that vibrational sensation, and now it's becoming familiar to me. I'm friends with it. I know when it comes, I know exactly what's going to happen. And I relax even more and trust it even more. And boom, the next thing you know, I come to my awareness, and I'm between 2 cucumbers in the refrigerator. And I am tripping out like I couldn't get it. It was crazy. So I wasn't planning that, but it took me a while to figure out where I was. I got to tell you that. And then, of course, I'm working on it every day, changing my energy, rehearsing in my mind. The vibrational sensation comes on. You surrender into it. When you surrender into it, you're going to come out. When you come out, just relax. Consciousness is non-local. You don't need to look at your body. Move away from it. And then, of course, here it all comes, and that's exactly what happens. I come out of my body. I slow myself down. I relax. I get in the present moment, and I start moving away from my body, and I get right up to the wall. Remember, I said I was going to go through the wall. And then I think, I wonder if I can go through the wall. The moment I think that, what happens? Why? Because I still think my body, I'm vibrating at a much faster speed than the wall. I should be able to go right through it. Do you understand? Here I am back in my body, and now I'm frustrated again. But does it ever end? No, because I'm always asking, what piece of knowledge or information can I apply in this experience to evolve my experience to wisdom, to prove to myself the truth of it? You with me still? So here comes the vibrational sensation. I surrender into it. I come right out of my body. I know not to look. I pick a point. I I move right up to the wall. And then I think, maybe I'll go through the double pane windows. And then I start moving through the double pane windows, and I think, what if I get stuck? And then I'm like, back in my body. So then I'm thinking, you can't think those thoughts when you're doing that. So here comes the vibrational sensation. I'm practicing it. I'm not really caring what anybody thinks of me. I don't really care, what's going on in the world. This is my world. I'm more interested in this than anything else. You understand? And now the experiences I'm looking forward to, so I'm anticipating the unknown, the unexpected. And I'm waking up at 4 a.m. because I'm excited to do it. And all of a sudden the observer's saying, "You're excited to come see me?" It's like a teenager showing up at your house with a bad attitude. You're entering the house of the divine within you. And if you're showing up for your meditation like, "Oh God, I gotta meditate today," it's going, "Okay, I still love you, but you're gonna have to work harder to get to me because you gotta raise your energy." So then I come right out of my body, vibrational sensation happens. I pick that point and I just focus on the other side and I go right through to the other side. And when I go through the other side, I expect to see my backyard, and of course that's not the quantum. I see this huge white mansion with this big circular black driveway and all these people with black top hats and coaches and women dressed in these big dresses, and I am a stagecoach rider. I'm the person who carries people around in Hyde Park, and I have this frozen leg that doesn't bend, and I'm moving a lot of royalty and a lot of people all around the park, important people, and they're asking me questions about life. And I'm half African and I'm half white. And on some way, they just really were comfortable with me. And the first time I went to Hyde Park, I had such incredible chills because I knew that I was there. Now, here's the cool part. I lived an entire lifetime, and when I came back, it was only 15 minutes. So then, how far does this go? Is there ever an end to the unknown? Turn to the person next to you and explain. You have that letter written down?
Yes.
You have your sub-intentions underneath it?
Yes.
Now, on the opposite side of the paper or underneath that listed set of intentions, what emotions will you feel when it happens? In other words, can you teach your body emotionally what that future is going to feel like now? Because if you can, your body, as the unconscious mind, is going to begin to believe it's living in that future reality in the present moment, and you're going to be signaling new genes in new ways. For those genes to make proteins, prepare your body for that future event. You'll be wiring your future in the present moment. Are you with me still? Now, gentlemen, I know you like to analyze, and I know you like to say, well, I really don't know how I'm going to feel because I haven't experienced it yet. And I'm going to say, try a little gratitude. That's usually a good place to start. So write down some of those elevated emotions. Me, my favorite one is feeling unlimited. It just works for me because when I feel unlimited, then my field is really big. And then that's when you're able to do pretty unlimited things. But you can't do it as a victim. You can't do it in guilt. You can't do it even trying. That's not it. You have to raise your energy. and change it. Are you with me still? So write down at least 4 elevated emotions. Inspired, magnificent, divine, worthy, the love for life, the joy for existence, the freedom of expression, blessed, appreciation, thankfulness, now, take a moment, sit up straight and close your eyes just for a second. Now, I want you to begin to feel some of those emotions. Close your eyes and bring up a few of those emotions. Now, I know that you're not going to feel like it, some of you. And then I'm going to ask you, what do you want to feel? Allow your body to begin to become familiar with that emotion. And feel that it's safe to feel. Great. Now open your eyes. Now this is how the meditation is going to go. The music's going to start, and then I'm going to instruct you to become no body, no one, no thing, no where, and no time. Are you with me? And we are going to start out becoming aware of that infinite black space behind your eyes in space. Are you listening? And then I'm going to ask you to rest your attention in different parts of your body and then become aware of the space around your body. Are you with me? Our research shows that when you do this, your brain gets more coherent. Not only more coherent, but more entrained in alpha coherence. Are you with me still? So your job is to stay present and follow the instructions and not anticipate what I'm going to say. Are you with me still? Then you'll open your focus to the infinite black space that this room occupies in space, and the space beyond this room, just sensing how big the space is beyond this room and space in this infinite black space. Are you with me? And then you'll become aware of even more space, and then you'll become no body, no one, no thing, no where, and no time, and all I want you to do is surrender deeper into the unknown. And if you find your mind returning to the knowns, to familiar people and things and places, in your known familiar reality that's connected to your personality, to your identity, to your body, to your emotions or habits, to thinking about the predictable future or remembering the familiar past, simply become aware that your attention is on the known, on matter, on the particle in quantum physics, and stop and return back into that infinite space, surrendering deeper into the unknown and trusting in it. Are you with me still? And the longer you linger there in the unknown, the more you create possibilities in your life. Not with your face, not with your gender, not with your job, not with your problems. You got to walk through that door as nobody. Are you with me still? Yes. And I'm going to wait for your energy to change. And when your energy changes, then I'm going to say to you, what was that potential that already exists in the quantum field that you want to tune into? Come on. It's time to change your energy and to move into a new state of being, broadcasting a whole new electromagnetic signature into the field. And all I want you to do is bring up that symbol in your mind and hold it as an intention. Are you with me still? And then I'm going to say to you, can you teach your body emotionally what that future will feel like now? Come on, open your heart and let your body respond to a new mind. Are you with me still? Yes. And you better get big. You better feel. And that energy is causing the field around your body to begin to expand. That's what elevated emotions do. Broadcasting a very strong magnetic signature. And you are going to lay your intent on that energy, holding that symbol and raising your energy. And then I'm going to say to you, for whatever you broadcast into the field is your experiment with destiny. And the longer your consciousness lingers in this energy, the more you're calling your future to you. And all I want you to do is feel and sense that energy while you hold that symbol, your intent, in your mind. Are you with me still? And if you understand that the longer you do that, the more you're bringing it closer to you, you'll stay there. You with me? You just hooked the fish. And you're bringing it in with your energy. Are you still with me? Yes. And then when you're in that state of being and your energy's raised, I'm going to say to you, live that future now. What choices will you make? What things will you do? What experiences await you, and how will they feel? And all I want you to do is begin to, just like the piano players, rehearse what you're going to do with all your wealth. Rehearse what you're going to do when you feel so healthy. Rehearse what you're going to do when you start a new business. Rehearse it. Just let your mind go. And just like the piano players, you're going to begin to install the neurological hardware in your brain. And if you keep revisiting it, that hardware is going to become a software program, and it's going to become automatic, and you're going to start thinking like an abundant person. Are you with me still? Yes. And then you have to teach your body emotionally what that future is going to feel like. And so as you begin to feel what it would be like to take care of somebody who's sick and give them the money that they need, or whatever it is that you want to lead people with, and you start moving into that feeling of feeling like a leader. And all of a sudden now, as you begin to do that, just like the muscle exercisers, you're changing your body to become a leader. You will feel like a leader, and you will signal the gene that causes you to lead in your life. How many people are with me? And I'm going to say to you, wherever you place your attention is where you place your energy. Come on, invest in a new future. And just like your body follows your mind to the coffee maker, to the known, every single day of your life, if you keep investing your attention into a new future, your body's going to follow your mind to an unknown. And it's going to find you. How many people understand? Yes. Then, after we do that, I'm going to ask you to take your left hand and place it over your heart, and you are going to bless your body with a new mind. To bless your life, that be an extension of your mind. To bless your soul, that it wake you up from this dream and that you never forget. To bless your past, that it turns to wisdom. And to bless your future, that it be filled with adventure. And to bless the challenges and the adversity in your life, that they may initiate you into greatness. And to bless the divine in you, the unseen in you, the power within you, that it begin to move in you, that it begin to move through you, and you invite it to move all around you and show evidence in your life that it is real. And then I'm going to say to you, if the thought sends the signal out and the feeling draws the event back, come on, open your heart for a moment and give thanks for a new life before it's made manifest. And the longer you feel gratitude, the more you are drawing that new future to you. For the emotional signature of gratitude means it has already happened. Gratitude is the ultimate state of receivership. And we do not pray in this work to have our prayers answered. We get up as if our prayers are already answered. That's the state of being. How many people understand? And then we'll take a break, and then you'll come back and I'll show you a little of the research. How's that sound? Turn the person next to you and say goodbye to them, because you are coming back as somebody else. If your body gives you trouble, master it. That is why you are here. Are you with me still? Overcoming, 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 overcoming until you become something else. That's the journey. Are you with me still? Yes. So can you give me your best? Yes. Your absolute best? Yes. All right, here we go. Sit up. Cell phones off. Eyes closed. Watches off.